Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Really nice out here in Maine. It's a little cloudy, but the sun keeps coming out, and it's like in the upper 80s. So it's warm, but it's nice out. And this morning, when I got up, I said, you know what? I'm going to drive down to Searsport. Now, for those of you who don't know, Searsport sits along the coast of Maine, and it's a small, modest town. It's very pretty, where it sits. I mean, lots of vistas. And the thing about the town is that it depends heavily on tourism during the summertime. They need that money, so they can get through the winter down there. So I was just kind of curious today. I mean, I remember hearing about how the Canadians vowed they weren't going to come into the United States to vacation like they usually do. But I figured I'm going to go down there, take a look around. Because what they do is in Searsport, they have these big flea markets down there every summer. Found a lot of neat things down there over time. And usually it's because the roads are not designed for it. A lot of traffic goes through there in the summer, bumper to bumper, all the way fucking down there and all the way back. Like I said, it doesn't sit on a like on the interstate or anything like that. It sits on a small 2-lane road, and so it gets a lot of traffic. I mean, you see, you would see motorhomes and shit like that going through there, and people trying to get in and out of flea markets. A lot of accidents happen, but yeah, it's a hotbed in the summertime for all kinds of tourism. So I went down there today, showed up there at about 12:30, 1 o'clock, started driving through Searsport. It takes about, I don't know, almost an hour to get there from here. I was driving, and there was hardly any cars on the road. And all the little hotels that were there, small ones, the ones that look like the Bates Motel there, they're kind of small like that a little bit. Maybe 1 or 2 cars in the parking lot, and a shitload of vacancies. The flea markets I talked about, there were only 2. Okay, where the third one should be, there was nothing there. Okay, it was just closed up, and there was nothing there. The other 2 that were there were more empty tables than there were tables being used outside. That's saying a lot. And there was hardly anybody there looking around, nosing around at that at all. You want to talk about dead? It was fucking dead down there. Okay, fucking dead. And I'm not mad. Don't get me wrong, I'm not mad that the Canadians didn't come. I know why they didn't come, and they had a damn good reason not to. Okay, I'm not going to criticize them for that. They're standing their ground, and God bless him for that. Okay, I blame this on Trump because it was his big mouth that sparked this. Okay, Trump did this. Him shooting his mouth off about, we're going to make Canada the 51st state, and all this other crap about Canada, and they've been taking advantage of us all. What did you think was going to happen? when you got the President of the United States talking like a 2-year-old, like somebody stole his ice cream. What do you think is gonna fucking happen? Other people are gonna say, you know what, this motherfucker can go take a flying leap off a, you know, they're gonna get pissed. The Canadians were pissed. You're damn right. What did you expect? They're gonna get mad, and of course, their only way they can show their outrage over Trump is to simply stop buying things that are American. Don't come to the United States for vacation. In fact, there was a Canadian, I think, who died under the detention of an ICE facility. I can't remember exactly where. This was like a few days back. There was a Canadian who died under, being detained by ICE for a long time, apparently. And he died, but I didn't read all the detail about that. Maybe you guys can look it up and find it. So, but this, because so much happens with Trump in the White House that it's like you're getting sprayed with a shotgun shell. I mean, okay, you got to pick and choose, right, what you're going to talk about. And that was something there that I thought, I should have talked about, but there was more other things going on that I wanted to discuss, and I just couldn't get to that, and it kept getting pushed back. But yes, there was a Canadian who died under ICE detention. Okay, the media didn't talk much about that here. No surprise, I think. State-controlled media. They didn't mention too much about that. It just quietly, was on the internet and just quietly disappeared. But I'm sure the people in Canada knew about it, right? Maybe, hopefully, okay? But, like I said, shit like this is why Searsport is suffering here financially, and why they're barely gonna have money for the winter, okay? It was very depressing to see how that's impacted that small town right there. Okay, I've never seen it like that. And almost every year I go down there. Okay, and it usually right after the 4th of July, it's busy down there. And here we are. This is the first weekend after the 4th of July. That place should have been fucking, filled to the rafters with people. Every hotel would have been booked solid. Okay, but none of that. No, it was like an average day of the week down there. Nothing going on. I went all the way into Belfast. Kept going further south. Went into Belfast. It's a little bigger town. It sits right on the ocean front practically, and it's got all kinds of boats everywhere and stuff. Didn't look too busy down there either. They don't have flea markets, but they got a lot of shops, gift shops, antique shops, stuff like that going on there, and it can get busy. And people like to go there because of the atmosphere of the place. It's calm. Once in a while, people like to go down there and sail. They get on a boat and just take out, and a lot of boats down there. But it was like, it was like a Monday, a Monday work day or something. I couldn't believe it. It's like, this is unheard of, And I imagine that all across America, tourist towns like Searsport are going through the same thing. Okay. And like I said, this can be, justly land. The responsibility of this is on Trump's shoulders, justifiably. Okay. Last year, this time, Searsport was having all kinds of customers. This year, 1 year later, here we are, after just 6 months of a lunatic presidency, he killed the nation. You try to convince me elections have no consequences, okay? Try to convince me of that, okay? I beg you. You can't explain this away by saying, oh, it was Biden's economy. When Biden left office, the economy was roaring, okay? Inflation, yeah, it was high, but it was lower than most of the rest of the world, whose where their inflation was through the goddamn roof. We were doing better than the rest of the countries out there that were going through inflationary period too. So he kept it down as much as he could. All right, yeah, things were mildly more expensive, but it's going to get more than mildly more expensive here. Okay, and one of the reasons that it's going to get more expensive here is the ICE raids that have been going into farmers' businesses and aggressively gathering up immigrants, they say are not here illegally, or they're criminal, or whatever the excuse they're using at the moment. Okay, gathering these people up and deporting them out of their jobs. The farmers are hopping mad about that, and these are the same farmers, by the way, that voted for Trump in the first place. But they're pissed off. They're really pissed off. And Trump, who's going, I'm all for the farmers, okay, he doesn't know what to do. I heard there was an idea floating around where they were going to give farmers the authority to buy immigrants to have them work on their fields. Okay, hello, we're going back to the slave days here. That's when America was great, right? So yeah, I don't know if they're going to actually do that, but there were, I read that it was an idea, okay, but they're trying to work out something. And they're, and at the same time, it's like, well, why don't you just tell ICE to just stop what they're doing, okay? Just stop. No more fucking raids, okay? And just, why didn't they plan this out? See, this is what happens when you don't plan out things and you don't think ahead. Shit falls apart and you're like, geez, I didn't know that was gonna happen. Well, you should have known if you'd have fucking done your homework. Again, we go back to the homework argument that I said in the last video. People don't do their homework, and so they get caught with their pants down every time they do something. And this is one of those situations where they just cut ICE loose on the fucking public, and now it's causing problems with the businesses out there that feed us. Okay? ICE is out there basically taking food out of our mouths because, we can't have illegal immigrants in this country. But at the same time, we got to eat, and you don't see people out there, lining up to work in a farm. So, yeah, we're going to start feeling the effects of that pretty damn quick here. Okay, the price of food, it's already up higher than it was when Biden was president. It's going up higher still, okay? How are those cheap eggs? Okay, they ain't cheap. They still ain't cheap. And the thing is that with all this shit happening here, and Trump really not engaged in trying to work anything out. I mean, he's doing what he does. I got concepts of plans. Basically the same old shtick that comes out of his mouth. He doesn't know what to do. He's torn between his racism against certain people in our country, okay, and the needs of the farmers who are begging him to do something about these raids because they're killing their businesses. He don't want to give up the racism aspect of what he's doing, right? He wants to continue to do this shit. You see what I'm saying? I mean, to any sane person, it's a given what the answer should be. The farmers get precedent. The immigrants, illegal or otherwise, can stay. But people have to eat. If they're not eating, you're going to have a bigger problem later than a country full of illegal immigrants. Okay? You're going to have a much bigger problem. And so, but Trump, in his mind, he can't wrestle. He's wrestling with that. He doesn't know what the answer is. Okay? That tells you right there he's incapable of leading a country. Just that one example right there shows you he cannot lead this country because he cannot make the simplest decision that there is. He's been fucking up since he got back into office. He fucked up the whole time he was in there the first time. He's doing it all over again, only this time it's on steroids. Why? Probably because his mind is worse now than it was then. And people are starting to see now that it's undeniable. He's got either first stage, or what do they call it, Alzheimer's or something like that. The doctors that are watching him, they say he's exhibiting all the signs of a person who's mental, he's suffering with Alzheimer's or something like that. He's having there was some speech he gave yesterday where he was all over the map talking about shit that had nothing to do about why he was there. Okay, about faucets and the flow of water and shit. People are like, what the hell is he talking about? Doctors say that's a sign of a person, when they cannot focus, their mind is damaged. Okay, they're suffering with mental deterioration, Alzheimer's or whatever, other thing. Okay, and he always comes out and says, oh, I passed my cognitive test, I passed it. People don't brag about something like that unless they know they failed it and they're trying to make people think that they passed it. Okay, but I never seen anybody that his age ever go around saying, oh, I passed a cognitive test. Okay, when they're suffering with Alzheimer's. Only Trump has done that. Why? Because he's got so much on the line. He's the president. He doesn't want to lose his job because he's unfit to do it. But he is. And MAGA is too fucking arrogant to suggest that he should step down. The way Joe Biden did. Okay? They're too arrogant. They don't want to be made a fool of. Well, look, MAGA, you've already been made a fool of. Nobody respects you guys anymore. Okay? You can go flitting around with inner tubes of Donald Trump's face on your body all you fucking want. Okay? But you guys, you're following a loser. And just because he's sitting in the White House, the president, doesn't make him any more of a winner than Will Smith getting an Emmy that night he slapped Chris Rock. Okay, I'm sorry, but the man is diminished. You guys really need to think about this, because if you have qualms about people with mental disabilities running things like, or driving or something, which you people always say you have. I mean, you always bitch about people, oh, why we got these freaks, I don't know. Okay, well, if you people have such an issue with that, okay, then you should have an issue with Trump and his problem with his memory and his ability to stay focused on things. He's losing his temper all the time, okay? He says stuff that he shouldn't say on air, okay, in front of other people. It gets back, it goes around. People are, oh, did you hear what he said? Okay, he's falling apart mentally. And you guys who are always attacking the people with mental disabilities or something like that, why aren't you attacking him now? Okay? You see what I'm saying about how you guys, you try to sound like you have principles, but you really don't. You just say it because it's convenient to say it at the time, but you don't really care. You don't really care. I doubt you even care much about anything, because when I think about all the issues that have come and gone over the years in various political campaigns and stuff like that, you guys, more often than not, take both sides about every issue, depending on which way the wind's blowing. You guys will stand on one or the other side, depending on if there's a Democrat running the country or a Republican. That's how fucking much you stand for your principles. You don't. Whatever you think you believe in, you don't. You only believe in it until it's inconvenient to continue to believe in it, and then you drop it. So with Trump, you guys are dropping your ball, basically, by not saying anything about that. I mean, you guys were all over Biden last year about his mental decline and everything else. I mean, you were relentless, so bad that you even got Democrats to turn against him. Okay? But now the same thing's happening to your guy, and it's crickets over there. Yeah. You see why I don't like talking to people from MAGA? Because they don't believe in anything they tell you. And they're lying to you half the fucking time. You can't argue with people like that who just want to live in their own little echo chamber. You can't. You're never going to get anything productive from these folks. If I was to hire anybody to work for me, it wouldn't be anybody like that. okay? Because they're troublemakers. That's what these people are. These MAGA folks, they're just born troublemakers. You look at a lot of these people in their background, you'll find a police record, you know, beating on their wives, abusing their kids, stealing, you know, road rage. I mean, these people, you know, they always come with a baggage. And a lot of these MAGA folks, unfortunately, they all have something that really is telling. Whenever you talk to some of these folks, that it's really telling, you know. But what's happened here, you know, in Searsport, with the you know, the tourism thing, basically cut over half. I mean, it's like almost between 60 and 70% less than it was just a year ago today. One fucking year. So an election made all the difference between a prosperous country and a destitute country. Elections do have consequences, people. Look around you. Just look around you. Don't take my word for it. Don't even take the media's word. Just get in your car and drive around. You'll see it with your own eyes. All right, let's go to a commercial break. We'll be right back.
I'm Alex Curtis, I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins, I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me. Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you. Original.
It happens in countries like Russia, Iran, and China. The inner circle of the dictator get very rich, while the rest of the country struggles. Now it's happening in America. Donald Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, over $4.5 million. Stephen Miller, that angry little guy his own family attacks, hundreds of thousands. Trump's former golf caddy, Dan Scavino, over $2 million. Sergio Gore, 38-year-old former DJ from Malta, over $1 million. What's Donald Trump done for you? You paying less for eggs? Your taxes gone down? Social Security offices are closing. VA services slashed. Trump's pushing the largest Medicaid cut in history and the biggest tax cut for billionaires. Trump's golden circle gets rich, while the rest of us struggle. It's not fair. Russia, Iran, China, corrupt dictatorships. And now, America. Donald Trump. It's just not working.
I thought I'd just get head spins, not nicotine poisoning.
Oh my god. His vape taped.
I wanted to be social. I didn't want the addiction that took over.
I thought it was just a bit of fun, but not being able to breathe because of lung damage is definitely not fun.
It's proven that vapes cause real harm. Every vape is a hit to your health. For more proof, search vaping harms.
Stephen Miller designed it. Donald Trump demanded it. Kristi Noem and Holman ordered you to do it. Illegal deportations, mass raids, rounding up people who are here legally, arresting citizens, family separations, snatching students off the street for tweeting, detention without hearings, shipping them to foreign prisons, deportations defying court orders. When government agents like you abuse your power, when you trample civil and constitutional rights, you can be held personally liable in civil court. You can lose everything, and Trump can't pardon you. That includes ICE, that includes CBP, contractors, DOJ, even the White House. Yep, every last Trump official pulling the strings. Even, well, especially the lawyers. If you think you're safe behind badges and titles, you're wrong. You do a hard, dangerous job. You're vital to our security. But what they have you doing now isn't law enforcement. It's just lawless, and you'll pay the price for following illegal orders.
Smishing and a splashing over the horizon, what can it be? The pilgrims sailed the sea to find a place to call their own. In their ship Mayflower, they hope to find a better home. They finally knocked on Plymouth Rock, and someone said, "We're there." It may not look like home, but at this point I don't care. Oh, they were missing Mother England. They swore their loyalty until the very end. Anything you say, King, it's okay, King. You know it's kinda scary on your own. Gonna build a new land the way we planned. Could you help us run it till it's grown? They planted corn, you know, they built their houses one by one. And bit by bit they worked until the colonies were done. They looked around, yeah, up and down, and someone said, "Hooray!" If the king could only see us now, he would be proud of us today. They knew that now they'd run their own land. But George III still vowed he'd rule them to the end. Anything I say, do it my way now. Anything I say, do it my way. Don't you get to feeling independent, 'cause I'm gonna force you to obey. He taxed their property, he didn't give them any choice. And back in England, he didn't give them any voice. That's called taxation without representation, and it's not fair. But when the colonies complained, the king said, "I don't care." He even has the nerve to tax our cup of tea. To put it kindly, King, we really don't agree. Gonna show you how we feel. We're gonna dump this tea and turn this harbor into the biggest cup of tea in history. They wanted no more Mother England. They knew the time had come for them to take command. It's very clear you're being unfair, King. No matter what you say, we won't obey. Gonna hold a revolution now, King, and we're gonna run it all away with no more king.
We're gonna elect a president.
No more king.
He's gonna do what the people want.
No more king.
We're gonna run things our way.
No more king. Nobody's gonna tell us what to do. Rocking and a rolling, swishing and a splashing over the horizon. What can it be? Looks like it's going to be a free country.
Never mix salt with these two ingredients if you don't want your hose to be rock hard tonight. Every time you see an older man with a young woman, you can bet he's using the salt trick. In fact, I've been left unable to walk for more than 4 days because of it. This talk about women only wanting money is just an excuse from guys who can't perform in bed. What women really care about is whether a man can heat things up in the bedroom and keep everything working. Having worked in the adult industry for many years, I discovered this after watching a video by Emily, a friend and former adult film star. In the video, Emily reveals that every man has a little hidden button on his body. When activated, it can make even 80-year-old men stand tall and be ready to handle any young woman for 2 straight hours. Dr. Jack Jordan scientifically proved this, and the method works so well that it makes your body stay rock solid whenever you want. All you need is the salt recipe in the morning with a bit of warm water. It takes less than 15 seconds. Fun fact, this recipe was banned for over 40 years because it threatened the sales of the famous little blue pill in pharmacies. After the video about salt featuring the ex-actress went viral, I can now share it here. Just click the link in the description or the pinned comment to access everything you need to make this recipe. Watch the video alone because it includes some very steamy practical demonstrations. Jack shows exactly how to do it and the results it delivers instantly. Everything you can imagine happens right in front of the cameras with nothing censored. So grab your headphones, click the link below, and get ready for content so hot it might even make you want to join in yourself.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Everybody, I got this video here from the iHip girls that's kind of funny, but also very informative. Okay, so let's skip over on to that, and then we'll talk about that on the other side.
I want to point out the difference between the right and the left and the political landscape. On the left, the people who are considered the most extreme fight for something called democratic socialism, which actually would go help people earn a dignified, livable wage and not have to file for medical bankruptcy in the world's richest country. On the right, their extremists have become mainstream. And these, of course, are the psychotic, evil Christian nationalists. And this guy has hundreds of thousands of followers. He is a MAGA pastor. His name is Joel Webbin. And I want you guys to listen to this batshit statement. Play the clip.
Judges who dissented, again, Jackson, Kagan, Sotomayor, all three of them women. One of them, Kagan, is a Jew, and Sotomayor is a second-generation Puerto Rican immigrant. What we need, if we're going to succeed as a nation, we need many things. First and foremost, we need repentance of our sin and turning in faith to the Lord Jesus Christ. But in terms of practicalities, political solutions, we need men in office. We need them not to be Jewish or Islamic or anything else, but Christian men in office. And we need them to be American Christian men in office. I have a dream, brothers and sisters. It's a simple dream. I don't feel like it's that big of an ask.
What a prick.
You know, I watch this and I think there's no difference in this and Sharia law. It's just dressed up differently. Men, no gays. We want everybody.
No Jews.
No Jews. I mean, it's unbelievable to me that this is happening in the United States and people are not just appalled.
But here's one thing, like you can see a lot of white country club Republicans and even, fanatical Christians watching this, men watching this and going, yes. But what Pumps and I know from living in the Bible Belt, a lot of women would see this and say, yes, I agree. Yeah. We shouldn't have a woman as president. Women are too emotional, which I've never seen anybody more emotional in my life than the aggrieved titty baby, President Taco Tits, who whines. Ever. He's an emotional basket case. All right, moving along. Next up, we have Representative Mary Miller, and she says that she's fighting evil by doing this in Congress.
The other thing I came out with the mission, which was the same when I was in Illinois, and that is, I believe God's left us on earth as believers to overcome evil with good. And Pride Month, in my opinion, evil. The left hijacked it to promote gender confusion, to promote indecency, hypersexualizing our children, and actually grooming our children. So I decided I'm going to reclaim it for the family.
So she wants to turn Pride Month into Family Month, and somebody needs to go tell her that LGBTQI plus people are members of families.
Right.
They are members of families that aren't assholes like you. And here's something I want to point out from the first video to this video. The Republican Party is very anti-Semitic, and they never get called out for it. Instead, the onus falls on college kids who see a genocide occurring in Gaza and her standing up for human rights, which is a very normal thing that people do. And then this bitch sitting here, just hatred and homophobia all in the name of her religion. I mean, it's just absolutely abhorrent. But I want to tell you guys, Pumps can attest to this. There are schools all over the United States of America that are these evangelical Christian schools where parents think they want their kids to get a Christian education. They're taught exactly what this woman says, and their parents pay for it to make sure they're indoctrinated in this level of hatred towards the LGBTQ plus community.
Well, and this woman, here she is, completely in on the patriarchy as a member of Congress, criticizing people that are different than her. Again, I go back to, we want to be in control. I mean, this group, MAGA, they want to control everything, and everything is going to be under a white male because the Bible is patriarchal, full stop, and they think that they have the right to judge gay people. They think it's their God-given right.
Well, and it's interesting to me that somebody could be a student of a faith or engaged in a faith, because I'm not, I'm an atheist. And it's interesting to me that you have large swaths of people and their focus of their faith is promoting white men and their wealth and demeaning anybody else instead of, oh my gosh, look at these refugees at the border with babies strapped to their backs. I mean, you would have to be in a dire situation to strap your baby on your back with just a few personal items and a bottle of water and, you know, with your feet and your tennis shoes and rolling the dice and hoping that somebody shows you grace and welcoming. And these people, these religious people, don't see that. They see them as inhuman. And it's just such a disgrace. And I can say I wasn't raised with religion, but being raised around and all of my peers being evangelical Christians, it made me thank God that I don't believe in, that my mother didn't indoctrinate me, because these people in everyday life are just as cruel as these people say. At the end of the day, you hook them up to truth serum and a polygraph. They think gay people are evil. They think immigrants are less than human. It's a huge cancer in this country, and the Democrats have got to start attacking the hypocritical faith of these MAGA Christians, because it is so dangerous and it is a death cult. All right, next up we have batshit crazy former Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, and here she is with some insane anti-Semitic apocalyptic fantasy.
We are living in the times that the Bible said that the prophets longed to see. The prophets of the Bible wanted to be alive now. When you and I are alive, they wanted to be alive because of what would happen, what was going to happen. Because it was very clear from the very beginning of the Bible, God gave a special purpose to the Jewish people.
So there it is right there. They want the Jews to be in Israel for the rapture. There is a huge component of the Republican Party, and always has been, even predates MAGA, that wants the Jews to be in Israel so that Jesus Christ can come back and condemn the Jews to hell forever. They're props for them. They're props. And the problem with the Israeli government, the current government, is they know these people are dipshits, but they take the money, and then you have this corrupt government like Benjamin Netanyahu. But to me, how disrespectful to the Jewish race who fell prey to genocide, to then say, yeah, get in your positions before our Lord and Savior comes and genocides you for all eternity. I mean, to me, there's nothing more demeaning or dehumanizing than having Jewish people in their places for your apocalyptic fantasy.
Well, it's funny because it is this administration is so anti-Semitic, yet they run around saying they're not anti-Semitic, but clearly they are so anti-Semitic. But I'm just going to tell you, I grew up with rapture prepping like this on every Sunday. come in. Jesus is coming. We're going to have a rapture. You need to be in your place the whole night. They've been saying this for 55 years.
And the thing is, what's so alarming about that is now these people are behind the levers of power.
Right.
And you've got people speaking in tongues in the parking lot of the White House. You have people that are having faith prayer revivals in the White House, speaking in tongues, that grifter and liar, Paula White, who's Trump's faith advisor. And so what's a really interesting thing is you have all these people that claim to be uber Christian who are championing the most bigotry and hateful and cruel regime that this country has seen since slavery. This is the most regressive thing. And these magical thinkers, people who want to base policy on magical thinking. And I know that some of you all are probably Christian light, but I'm just going to tell you right here, you cannot base policy that affects a country of 350 million, who also has the most bombs and guns and all that shit in the world for the whole globe and everybody's safety, on these people who are rapture preppers. And they have been planning and raising and indoctrinating and sending people into the government, and they've been playing the long game. And what's interesting about this is our adversaries know that these people are the dipshits, right? And that's how they enter into the American government, a la Vladimir Putin sending his Russian spies to the prayer breakfast, because these people are the most malleable and easy to convince because they believe in the rapture. All right. Next up and last, we have Kat Kerr, a self-proclaimed Trump MAGA prophet. Let's hear what this batshit crazy bitch has to say.
The Lord had told me to please let the people know there will be no World War III.
Hallelujah.
So number one,
hallelujah.
No matter what's going on or where it's going on, it will not become World War III. Amen. I know that's on the mouth of a lot of people and the mind of a lot of people because of all the activity, the fierceness, the battles, the little mini wars going on everywhere. And in between countries, of course, we know Israel is at war right now with Iran. I can probably prophesy that won't last long. Yeah. God is definitely there with his chosen people.
I mean, this is
freak show.
Nuts. A total freak show.
You know what's interesting is and honestly, until growing up, it didn't strike me as odd. But Mike Johnson, this woman, well, God told me, they're having conversations. So you just hear it so much. But when you say that out loud and you think about it, it's like, is it schizophrenia? Is it your imagination? Why is it that people think they're having imaginary conversations? And why aren't we alarmed from jump?
These people are con artists.
Yeah.
I mean, these people are total con artists. And I also think that they've looked at, neurologists have looked at CAT scans of people on drugs and how their brain reacts. And they've looked at people high on religion and how their brain reacts. And it's very similar CAT scans. And so you have something in this on the addiction spectrum called religious addiction, and people that are religiously addicted, just like a crackhead would be. And these people are religious crackheads. They are addicted to their religion, and it is a damaging, toxic thing in their lives, much like somebody who is addicted to drugs. It is a damaging, toxic thing in their lives. And it is a problem in the United States of America that operates with impunity. These churches are not taxed. They are indoctrinating generations of people to hate and otherize and dehumanize and demoralize their fellow human beings instead of offering grace and compassion. And all I can say is my on the ground experience is, and my mother told me this early in my life, and it has always turned out to be true. The loudest Christians are always the biggest assholes. 10 times out of 10. It has never, ever, ever failed. All right. That's all we have today for this Sunday at church with atheists Jennifer and Punk. We hope you have a blessed day.
It's easy to see where this Project 2025 manifesto originated from, okay? Heritage Foundation. It's all composed of people who are from this religious core here. You know what I'm saying? And it's it's not a surprising thing when you read that manifesto, what you'll find in it. Okay, you're going to see echoes of things uttered in these mega churches. All right, and you know, it's telling. Okay, I mean, when you look at that, you say, "Oh shit," you know, I heard that last Sunday. Okay, it's like, well, these are the same mentalities that are writing this thing out, the manifesto, passing it off to the president, saying, "This is what we want done." Okay, and then you hear this shit about, "Oh, there's all going to be a World War III." Yeah, okay. You know, if I had a nickel for every prediction that was ever made by some of these fucking nuts, okay, that didn't come true, I would be wealthier than Donald Trump. All right? These people don't know jack. Okay? They think that because it's in the Bible, it's a guarantee that it's true, that everything's going to happen. Okay? You know, you can interpret that Bible in any era in human history, and you're going to find things in there that, oh, this is going on, that's going on. Okay? It's because we're human beings. Jesus Christ, we got issues that we're still wrestling with after thousands of years. It's easy to sit down. I could sit down and write a fucking Bible and write out predictions and stuff like that. And 1,000 years later, people will still find, oh yeah, this is going to happen now. You know, that's why you're never going to actually find a date of when this thing is going to happen. When is the rapture going to happen? You're not going to find a date. What they got in there is, well, when it happens, you'll see these signs. The same signs that my father saw. The same signs my grandfather saw. The same signs my great-great-grandfather saw. And on, okay? They go on throughout fucking time. They just increase in intensity or decrease in intensity, but you can always bet if you write that in the Bible, some people are going to say you're a prophet. How did you know? It's like Nostradamus, same fucking thing. This guy knew that shit too, and that's why he did what he did, made that book and said, oh, I was dreaming and I come up with all. Okay, you know what, people? There's never been a shortage of doomsday predictors in this world. Okay, they are everywhere. They are everywhere, and by nature, a lot of us feel like we can tell what's going to happen because we read the signs of the times, and we say, yeah, well, if this keeps going this way, this is going to happen. Okay, we all do it. We all have a habit of living in the past, the present, and the future all at the same time. We all do that. I guess that's what comes with having free will and a level of intelligence. Okay, that's higher than most animals on the earth. Okay, that's the caveat to having all that, is that you're always gonna be doing this shit. It's gonna drive you crazy, but you're always gonna be, you know, trying to predict what's going to come. And so humanity has never been in short supply of these fortune tellers. Okay, every king throughout time has had people like that in their staff to try to help them guide their little empires from danger. Okay, in every goddamn country on the planet. Okay, so and the United States is no exception. We have them here, and we got a lot of them here. And unfortunately, in our situation, we have a lot of these fucking people in our government. Okay, maybe that's why they felt like we don't need a weather service anymore, because, well, I can predict the weather. I'll just look at page 59 in this book and it'll tell us what the... Okay, we got people like that. RFK Jr., I don't believe in vaccinations. Oh, okay, these are the kind of... These people that these girls are talking about are now in the goddamn government doing their thing and tearing the nation apart from the inside out. They're actually doing the job that they constantly, every Sunday you hear, we shouldn't be doing this, or we shouldn't have this, we shouldn't have that. Okay, now they got their chance to actually implement that into legislation. Church and state are supposed to be separate? Like hell they are. Not in America. That's just a myth. Church and state separation. Okay, there will never be a time when churches will not be involved in government. That's always going to happen until somebody one day says we start taxing the religions in this country. When that happens, you're going to hear a huge sucking sound of churches leaving this country. Okay, to borrow a phrase here from Ross Perot. Okay, you're going to hear a sucking sound of religions walking out of this country. All right, but right now, no. So hearing these people sit there, you know, their orange or pink hair and, you know, and their colorful clothes, and they're sitting there talking like they're goddamn soothsayers for Queen Elizabeth or something. Okay, these people are fucking nuts. They don't have a job in life except being that. Whatever gets them on the front page of a magazine or in front of the TV or whatever is good for them. It means revenue. They have to do this because of the money. They need it. They don't have any other job. Okay, you want to talk about people feeding off the system? There you go. And I believe that in some cases, a lot of these people are addicted to religion, and I think that addiction happens when they start to profit from that. You know, from doing these things, when they use their religion as a means to get money, like the mega churches. Okay, that's what those people in the mega churches are doing. That's why when you go in there, it looks like you're inside of a goddamn a football thing or stadium or something like that. They're getting tons of money from people who can't afford to send it, but they're getting it. You think they go around helping others with that money? No, they just go down there to pad their fucking wallets. That's the biggest scam going on in this country, is these mega churches. I don't know why anybody falls for that. Okay? But they go in there. You know, and just because other churches aren't mega churches doesn't mean the smaller ones ain't doing the same thing too. Okay, you hear all the time on the news here about a pastor, you know, doing something with a little kid, or he's cheating on his wife or some damn thing. And you know, and any of these pastors that look like they just were born yesterday, you always gotta question how the fuck do they know anything about life? They ain't got hair one between the legs, and yet they're out there telling people how to live their life. Okay, those are the ones you run away from, because they don't know jack shit. Okay, they're in it for the money. They're in it for the goddamn money. The loudest Christians are the biggest assholes. Yeah, that's been proven over and over and so many fucking times over. It gives me a migraine, you know, just thinking of that. And, you know, the anti-Semitism, the misogyny, the racism in general, you're going to find that inside religion, no less, in our country. Christian religion. The ones that we're supposed to say is the most pure and the righteous religion of all. At least that's what we're told in this country. That, you know, they know better than everybody else, but yet they got all the flaws mixed in with their religion. They got all the greed, the sloth, the lust, you know, all the 7 deadly sins exist inside that religion. And knowing this, they don't care, because hey, we got followers. People are listening. Like I said, you know, one person can speak in the middle of town and at least get 100 people to agree with him or her, no matter what they're saying. It's easy to start that. And imagine with those 100 people, you can get them to give you, you know, $5 out of their wallet. Well, that goes to you. Who wouldn't try? That's probably why we have an explosion of people online doing what I'm doing for money. Because they know, hey, the time is ripe. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to criticize those folks that I'm, you know, that I show you on here, okay? But there are those on there, you know, like, what's his face here? His name escapes me now, that bastard there that was bitching about the kids here and all that and saying it was all a hoax and all that. Him, anyway. And, you know, Jesse Waters and people like that, they're in it for the money. because what they're telling you on there is nasty. It's lies, it's hate mongering. Okay, those folks are in it for the money. Now, on the other side, you got, you know, like you got Ben Mysalis, you got Kyle Kalinske. Okay, they're doing it because they're trying to give out facts that you're not going to get from mainstream media or legacy media. Okay, they're trying to show people what's going on because you're not getting it. You're not hearing about it like you're supposed to, like we used to. All right, they get money just to keep, you know, because obviously they're not doing it the way I'm doing it. They're okay, the way I'm doing it, I don't need to spend money on any of this shit. Okay, so I can do this for free. But those folks, they have studios more or less. They got microphones, they got computers, they got a small staff or a big staff. Okay, so they need to have a little bit of money, I guess, for the most part. But it's not a must. You don't have to give them if you don't want to, and you can still watch their content. Okay, you can still watch their content. So, but they're not trying to grift the shit out of people like they do with these other idiots out there on this. So I feel like now is the time these people are all doing this because they see, well, Trump does it, and look how much money he's getting. We're going to try. We're all going to do the same thing. Okay, we're all going to do the same thing. They look at Rush Limbaugh. Oh, this man knew nothing about anything, but yet he got on the radio every day and he's talking like he knows everything, and he made himself rich. Okay, these people are the ones that inspire a lot of Americans, believe it or not. Not the scientists, not the teachers, not the, you know, those folks who put their nuts on the line to do things for the greater good. No, it's the son of a bitch, you know, the used car salesman. That's who they all admire in this country. You know, I figure, how the hell did that ever happen? I mean, people were always told, you know, when I was a kid, grow up to be a doctor or a lawyer or something, you know, to contribute something great in society. In my generation, we grew up and we taught our kids how to appreciate a grifter, someone that can get money quicker. You know, it's okay to lie to get it. And so we got my generation out there doing that right now by, you know, you see it. They're out there doing these fucking things. And all of a sudden now the will to be something better, to be something meaningful, is just evaporated. It's gone. Nobody cares. All right? Nobody cares. Nobody wants to be something better than they are. And so what we have is a society filled with people who are, you know, just struggling to make ends meet and looking for an opportunity to get rich quick. Well, that never happens, right? And when people get rich quick, there's always people look and they investigate or something like that, you know, because usually it's a crime that's involved. But people are always thinking that that's the way to get ahead, is you got to commit the perfect crime in order to get ahead. You know, I don't know how many fucking shows I see on TV where a spouse will kill their husband or their wife for the insurance money that they're going to get, and a lot of times it's a big payout, like, you know, over $1 million. I mean, there was a woman that was making a career out of it. She'd marry all these guys and kill them all under mysterious circumstances. I don't know how the hell the police never caught on to that really quick, but she got away with that for a long time. And when they finally were within reach to finally get her, they find her dead, frozen to death or something, you know, outside of her damn house. Okay, so she gets away with it. But I can't remember the name of the woman. This is going back quite a ways here, but that's what we got. That's what's going on now. Is people no longer feel that they can get ahead the honest way by, you know, getting an education and doing that, because the ladder, all the rungs have been removed. The people that are already at the top are going to stay at the top. Those of us at the bottom are never going to get to the top, because they took all the fucking rungs off the ladder. All right? That's what the rich have been doing in this country steadily for decades now. They've been making it oh so hard for anybody to get to the top. They think that once they're there, they should remain there, and you're not welcome to join them up there at the top. You know, they got enough rich people, they don't want any more. So, greed, people, and the evil that exists inside Christianity, the unspoken evil, when they go around and saying that, you know, gay people, you know, the LGBTQ community, when they go around saying that these folks are evil, okay, judge not, least you want to be judged, you know, and yet that's what they do every day, isn't it? Anybody that doesn't match their skin color or their hell, even the way they dress, you know, if they see somebody and in some way it irritates them, it just grinds right into their head like a goddamn cancer, and all of a sudden these people are evil. Okay, we need to go back to family values and stuff. Well, we did have family values, but somehow along the way those values got distorted because you never took out the bad parts of living. Like, you never taught your kids not to hate other people because of their skin color. I mean, you taught them don't tell a lie, you know, be helpful, be honest, work hard. Okay, you taught them all these things, but what you didn't tell them was, no, you can't hate somebody because they're black. You didn't take the time to do that. So, in a way, we never got taught family values, honestly. What was passed down were habits of old that our youth saw, picked up, and regurgitated as they got older. So when, what's her name there was sitting there talking about we need to go back to that so we can have family values, I'm thinking, well, you know what? We never actually approached real family values in this country, because if we had, our kids would be would be better adults today. Okay, they would be better adults. You know, we might even have had put a dent in racism, but as we've seen in recent days, racism is alive and well in this country, probably to the levels that hasn't seen since before the Civil War. Okay, we're just, you know, a step or two away from bringing slavery right back to reality here. So this idea that, oh, you know, LGBTQ people are evil, that person right there is a person who did not grow up with proper family values. She didn't grow up with values of any kind that's even considered human values. What that person learned was hatred. That's all she learned, hatred. And she thinks that's a family value. So when they say when a person confesses, they're actually revealing a problem with themselves. Okay, when they say shit like that, it's very telling. They reveal what they are when they're giving speeches like that and saying things like that. When, you know, you have to look at it on, you know, deeper on a different level. When she's sitting there telling people that LGBTQ people are evil, then that means that person there is hateful. When somebody calls them evil, you're hateful. What did any of these people do to you? You know, over-sexualization, indoctrination. These are the words coming from a paranoid schizophrenic. None of that shit's happening. All that's going on is that these folks in that community want to be treated equal like everybody else. That's it. Is that so fucking hard? You know, is it really that hard? That's all they want. They just want to be able to live their life and do things like everybody else can. What they do in their home, behind closed doors, is not your business. Unless you want everyone to live in glass houses. Okay, so that way you can go nose around your neighbor to make sure that, oh, you know, he's sleeping with a woman, so he can't be gay, you know. You know what I'm saying? This is the only thing that would appease a Christian these days and allow them to rest calmly at night, is when they can see what everybody's doing around them and know that, okay, everything's okay, so now I can go to sleep. What is that? What kind of a problem is that? There's a word for that. I can't remember what it is, where people are just constant worry wards. Okay? They can't go to bed because in their mind is racing all the time about different things. They can't calm their fucking nerves. And I think a lot of these people are that have this difficulty inhabit Christianity here to a degree where they end up being like this, where the thought of someone who's gay is just, is my neighbor gay? I saw him going in there. I saw 2 guys going in that house. Are they gay? I gotta know. I saw 2 women go in that house. Are they gay? I gotta know. Okay? You see what I'm saying? It's this fucking paranoia that feeds these folks' minds, and then they turn around and they give speeches about it to people on against podiums, and people like-minded suffering the same goddamn problem are sitting there clapping and applauding it and agreeing with it. Okay? It's fucking insane when you think about it. But we have a lot of broken people in this country who are really given a lot of attention, and they shouldn't be. The media focuses too much on those people who are disturbed and suffering with mental problems and stuff, and they take everything that they say out of their mouth as some golden nugget. Okay? And it's like, you people are just ignoring those who are smart and understand things, and you're focusing your cameras on these assholes who are there only for their own personal agenda, and that's to twist your head around and make you into them. What is it? People don't recognize bullshit and con artists anymore? I mean, apparently not. Apparently not. Maybe these young reporters and stuff we got today, they don't understand what a person is when they hear them talk or something. It used to be a time, people would just understand a grifter when they heard the first sentence out of their mouth. But nowadays, no, they don't hear that. No. And it's because everybody that listens to that idiot is on the same page to begin with. They all feel the same way, and they're just waiting for somebody to get up there and take the limelight. And before you know it, that son of a bitch is sitting in the White House. Christ. So it's sad. It's a sad fucking reality, to be honest. I mean, who would ever in their mind would think like 100 years ago that this country would look like this today? Our government would be like this today. I'm not saying it was perfect 100 years ago, but I don't think if somebody told them, 100 years from now, this is what you're going to have for a president, this is what you're going to have for a Congress, this is what you're going to have for a society, they'd have said, get the fuck out of here. Why? Because back then they had more scruples, they had more principles, they had more dignity, as people. Okay? I think they cared more for the government 100 years ago. Today, people would just as soon take a dump on it for all the good it does them, because they don't trust anything from it. And why? Because we keep putting people in there who cannot be trusted. And we haven't learned our lesson yet. Okay? We haven't learned our lesson yet. I'm hoping that this period with Trump 2.0 will sink into these thick heads out there, these MAGA nuts, will finally learn that, you know what, you guys, you got duped. And you didn't know it then, and you didn't know it for a long time after, but now you've come to the realization that you were screwed over. Maybe then they'll learn something and then, won't make that mistake again. I don't know. People have a habit of repeating history. So maybe they'll learn, maybe they won't. I have no idea. I can only hope that they do. But you know what you know me, I always expect the worst from people. Okay? Always expect, you're never disappointed. When people say something, always expect the worst. All right, so that's it for today. I hope everybody has a great week, and subscribe, comment, share, and try to work with your neighbors during tough times. Be a community. Try to do what the nation couldn't do for so long, and that's be a community unto itself, where we all work together to help each other out. Okay, don't just be squatters in your own homes waiting for the shit to happen. Okay, it's better to be prepared. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.